Well, welcome, Kairos Secure family. Thank you for joining me, Dr. Sherry McAllister, the Foundation's president, and delighted to actually share this particular concept as we go through the month of April. I know we're halfway through, but listen, if there's anything that you can think of in spring, it has the opposite of stress. Spring should bring balance, vitality. We should be thinking of our quality of life. And yet, so many of us are in that place where stress, mental health, and chiropractic need to come together to be in a whole being approach. And that is, in fact, why today we're going to run through some of the things that your patients are feeling. We're going to share a testimonial, and we're really going to get down to the basics of why chiropractic care can really help stress and mental health and what is the latest research. But as always, we cannot forget our fantastic sponsors. They make it real for us. And every time I see you, I smile because it is these generous corporate sponsors that allow me to do what I'm doing now. Thank you, Kairos Secure. So take one of these sponsors and just think to yourself, thank you. And when you visit a expo or you're at a convention and you can remember one of those sponsors, say hi and say thanks. So let's start with mental health matters. 77% of regular experience the stress. So the American Institute of Stress is really showcasing that if 77% of people regularly experience stress that impacts their health, we need to talk about it. And we need to have a really confident way to talk to our patients, as we always do. The reason why we get such patient high satisfaction rates is because, in fact, we do a whole being approach. And when we look at, according to the Mayo Clinic, chronic stress, we know that it's increasing the risk of anxiety, depression, cardiovascular disease, and immune dysfunction. That means that as we walk through the treatment that is personalized by you as a chiropractor, we need to look for these stress conversations to happen because 43% of adults suffer from adverse health effects from the stress. So if you don't know how much stress they're being put under and we don't have conversations with them, we in fact are ignoring 120,000 deaths. And it was shocking to me when I saw this stat and it kept coming up. Annual deaths in the United States that are built in the workplace stress. So this is uncertainty about their job. We've heard a lot about that in the news. It's the work-life balance stress. And it's really the unfortunate, which is they handling the everyday tasks that may be bringing that person a great deal of stress. Maybe it's a coworker. But what I want to pay attention to is we always talk about work comp injuries as some neuromusculoskeletal, but look at this. Reality is work stressors are killing 120,000 people a year. So we need to know what is our patient suffering with and how we're really helping manage those emotions. So I want you to open up your mind because everything I'm about to tell you, you already know. The question is, are you sharing? And it's sharing that causes the caring. And that's the impactful opportunity we have when we walk into our clinics and we touch our patients. So, experiencing stress, your body obviously activates that built in alarm system. Are you talking to them about that alarm system where the stress hormones get released? Cortisol and adrenaline, they all know what that is. That's the fight or flight. It's reacting to the dangerous situation, that high pressure situation. But as anyone knows, if you're in constant fight or flight mode, you're not being able to have a good quality of life. It's the agitation, it's the frustration. And that's why when it comes to stress on a long term issue, you're actually physically changing the brain. Full stop. Think about how that impacts a person when they're trying to make decisions in their company or they're trying to manage those emotions. And that makes it harder for them to stay focused. And we all know in today's world, they really forget just the stress. It's just hard to stay focused. And there's the bell ringing, your alerts going off. You've got a podcast that maybe you're listening to, and boom, you're back into recognizing that you're having a hard time focusing. The stress is not going to make it any better. And that is one of the things that I really want to point out, doctors, is that being with your patient and really watching for those signs and symptoms of stress and having a conversation. This is a wonderful moment for me to reflect on. I had a podcast yesterday with the chief medical officer who is developing an integrative clinic. And I found this story while I was with them. The group that just started is the Valley Health. And when I found the story, I had to capture it for you because I just thought, how cool is this? So, this is a chiropractor and this is a patient's story. The chiropractor is Dr. Nuzzi. And what the patient said was, once I leave Dr. Nuzzi's office after an adjustment, I feel so much better. She's not just focused on the bones or your nervous system. Now, chiropractic friends, that's what I want to point out. This is a whole being care system. And she says, but really focused on the whole person. Now, are you making that patient feel like a whole person? Or are they coming in looking like a segmented low back pain patient? Because that's the reality of our future. Where do you want to be in the reality? Is that we want to prevent, but we also want to optimize. And this patient, Janellis, said, I began to have a lot of anxiety and was dealing with a lot of grief. Well, COVID came, a lot of people lost loved ones. We're in a lot of grief. We really are. And people need to recognize grief and open the space for people to have these emotions. After therapy one day, Dr. Nuzzi noticed something was wrong. Good for you, Dr. Nuzzi, and talked with me. As we always do as great clinicians, we talk with our patients. When we notice something, we clearly are going to say something. She felt comfortable speaking with her and she began doing research about grief and helping the things to talk through. Dr. Nuzzi cares deeply about her patients and is kind and nurturing. Isn't that exactly why you became a chiropractor? Because you knew something that many in the Western medical philosophy is that it's not about the symptom, it's about the cause. And when you start to recognize that that cause is stress in these people's lives, and you saw the stat I just put up, it's significant. So, what are the health implications? Well, as you know, cardiovascular issues are on the rise. They're significant, they're important. Chronic stress contributes to high blood pressure. And as Harvard Health is showcasing to their consumers, it promotes the formation of artery clogging deposits, increasing the risk of heart disease and stroke. So think about it's about the root cause. The immune system suppression. Now, if you're elevating cortisol levels, it can weaken the immune system. That's in the research, making the body more susceptible to infections. Now, take the leap with me. In a few slides later, I'm going to show you some research that I think you should know. But as the Mayo Clinic says, on top of that, digestive problems. We have the upset stomach, the indigestion, the irritable bowel syndromes. Are we talking to our patients about? It's not just about the irritable bowel syndrome. It's not just about the upset stomach. Stress is causing these symptoms, but root cause wise, we need to get involved as chiropractors because chiropractors' role in stress management, as the research is pointing out, and I wanted to bring this to your attention, in the Journal of Manipulative and Physiological Therapeutics, they observed after chiropractic adjustments, there were progressive decreases in salivary cortisol levels anywhere from 15 to 60 minutes post treatment. Now, we need more research. I get it. Thank you, NCMIC Foundation, for putting research out there. But we also need to recognize what is already out there. Research indicates that chiropractic adjustments can influence brain regions. You don't believe me? You follow Heidi Horvick. She's going to talk to you about what's happening in the brain and the processing and the stress levels. We know where that reality becomes a very significant component to your emotions, your regulation of emotions. So that decreasing stress level means that you'll have decreased cortisol levels, which in fact improves your quality of life. What are we here to do? We're here to optimize life. Period. End of story. Drop the mic. It's all over. If you're a chiropractor and you're engaged with your patient, you are really changing their health span, not just their longevity, because who wants to live longer if you're sicker? You want to live longer and enjoy the spice of life. That's the key to really the aging with grace, chiropractic role in stress management is critical. And we saw this with the foundation, NCMIC Foundation's International Journal of Environmental Research and Public Health. In February of 2023, we looked at the bidirectional comorbidity between back pain and major depression. So doctors recognizing that depression can in fact be causation to back pain, and back pain can be causation to depression. There is not one is isolated, as the conclusion noted, that this study indicates low back pain and depression are not isolated conditions, and that they have a prospective bidirectional association. This is important, and this is such importance that you need to talk to your patients about. What is the management and prevention of disability associated with both depression and low back pain? So, as you go through and we share the monthly marketing roadmap, I want to remind you that these roadmaps are really your template. What and where do you want to take your patients? There's a famous quote from Audrey Hepburn, and that nothing is impossible. And in fact, in the word itself is, I'm possible. And I loved that quote because if we can take a patient who feels like everything is impossible because they're feeling the depression, the anxiety, the sadness, perhaps loss, grief has stricken them in their lives, perhaps their job is completely out of balance and they can't focus, they can't regulate, then we, the chiropractor, we see that, we feel it in their bodies, and then we hear it when they talk to us. And that's why putting these social media infographics out there to bring these conversations to the forefront. Hey, did you see my post on Facebook today that 48% of US adults are actually reporting problems with their sleep caused by stress? How are you sleeping? These are the questions that we want to pose. Get them engaged on social media and ask patients out there, throw it out there. Who's experiencing sleep deprivation based on stress? 77% of individuals report experiencing physical symptoms related to stress, such as muscle tension and pain in the neck, shoulders, and back. So we know chiropractic care can relieve these neuromusculoskeletal issues, but we can't get them to understand it unless we're talking about it. And maybe you want to bring your walls to life again, that 18 by 24 poster that can be printed and displayed in your office. Yes, it is right there. It just takes one more step to put it on the wall. Have your front desk talk about stress. Swap out those old posters in your office and refresh them with something that really helps them unplug and recharge, breathe and reset, move your body, and ease your mind. Choose chiropractic care. Someone out there is having a stress recovery moment. What are the tips? Do you have this white paper? Is it in your office? Is your front desk read it? Is there a mind body connection that we can help them manage the depression and anxiety associated with chronic pain? Yes, there is. The foundation walks with you. And the reason why we have these conversations is because it's not just about stress. It's about the implications that create that stress. If you want to have a longer version of what's going on, stress less, how stress affects your body, you can actually continue to register even though the date was April 16th. You can pull this up. I want to thank Chiro Health USA for being able to sponsor webinars like this, because when we know better, yes, we do better. What doesn't grow dies. So your growth in education needs to be on task. And one of the things that you can give your patients to do is, let's talk about stress. And I want to give you a podcast by Adjusted Reality, a podcast series trusted by the adjusted. And yes, we're growing. In fact, I get to tell you, legit, last Thursday, we won by Sway Healthcare, which is a national healthcare system podcast of the year. And that is a moment of reflection. When we as chiropractors are being awarded podcast of the year, it means we're doing something right. And in fact, we are. Breathe Better, Live Better, Unlocking Therapeutic Breathwork with Dr. Christian Brems. She's a Stanford University professor, highly regarded, an outstanding individual, wrote a 500-page therapeutic clinical book that I think if you'd like to go down the road with it, buying the book would be a fantastic way. But just listening to the podcast and listening how she presents it to patients, it really does help your patients do better. And of course, when people are focusing on growth, what do? You make progress. So that's what the Foundation for Chiropractic Progress is all about. And we want to thank the Michigan Association of Chiropractors. They, in fact, are sharing the podcast as a state association with every single one of their members. And if you're not part of your state association, I hope that you're with the Foundation for Chiropractic Progress because you're missing out on a lot. We did a TV segment recently, last week, that you probably saw, and it's Find a Doctor. If you're not in our Find a Doctor directory, where are you? They're not finding you. And if they can't find you, you don't exist. And the fear of missing out is bigger than the reality of just joining and becoming part of this movement. Because, in fact, friends, this is a movement. It is called a whole being movement. It's changing the world, and it's putting chiropractic first, not last. It's taking the small minority and making them the vast majority. And I need every single one of you to come on the journey with me. That's why we go to Parker Seminars, as we did a podcast there. We were at Cal Cairo, the middle photo that you're seeing there. And then, of course, we were just at Palmer, Florida's homecoming. Now, I want to invite you because I care enough to share, and I hope you do too. You can come with me on May 5th. We are being invited to, we're showing up to, we're making a global impact. This is our profession. Our profession needs to be bold. We need to be brave. We need to take it to the next level. And People in Planet United is the place where we want to be. I want to invite you today. We're tackling today's public health challenges with a whole being care approach. This is how chiropractic stands up, steps out, and be part of a movement. This is making America healthy. And that's the key to success. When America moves the needle, the rest of the world starts to pay attention. So join me. Register today. There's a link on your screen. It can be put in the comments. We can get you to find this summit as an opportunity to share what's happening. We're going to be with the New York City Health Innovation Week, HIT Lab, Fin, and One Business World. It's a big deal. I want you with me. I want you moving the needle with me because we can't do it alone. That's the divide and conquer. That's not what DC stands for. It's unite and prosper. Friends, we're prospering. We're making progress. If you're at one of these events that are coming up, come find me. I'll find some free stuff for you, I promise, as always. May 1st, that's coming up very shortly. We're going to be at Logan University Symposium. They're having their 90th anniversary. If you're a Logan grad, happy anniversary. Then we're going to shoot right over to Pennsylvania Chiropractic Association Conference. We love them. Pennsylvania has been a pinnacle of so many wonderful things. And then last but not least, we're going to do Chirothon. Yes, that's right. Chirothon is going to happen at Harrah's Resort, Atlantic City. Bring your patients. Bring their friends. Bring your family, your loved ones, your community. Listen, this event is the Jerry Lewis Telethon of today's world. How do we get them to pay attention, elevate, celebrate, and support the greatest profession on earth? You got to bring them. So if you look at this QR code right now, and it's so easy to remember, f4cp.org/Chirothon, have your staff sign up now. All will happen is they'll get pinged that the vignettes are starting. They can pick which one of these recordings that they want to see. I will share with you that the guests are epic. Every single Chirothon, we just kept getting better and better and better. We want 400,000 viewers to show up so that we can really share the benefits of chiropractic. And that means when they're aware of what we do, they know they don't have to have pain to come in. In fact, we prefer it if they did it right. We would like to be able to prevent problems and then, of course, optimize whatever their personal care. Maybe they're a golfer, maybe they enjoy pickleball. Whatever it is that they do, can we help them optimize it so that their health span is so much more improved? And that, my friends, is why when we actually share these moments, they get better. And 41 million monthly readers were reached in last month, Tom's Guide. What's so bad about stomach sleeping? Expert dishes the dirt on the so-called worst sleeping positions. If you're not sleeping, you're less likely to feel happy the next day. You know that. You're being able to, negotiate and create diminishes. So remind yourself, first and foremost, what you do for your patients, you must do for yourself first. Honestly, chiropractic friend, when was the last time you got an adjustment? I paused because it's so incredibly important for you to take care of you. I will not let that go because if we're going to change the world and be superheroes, you need to keep your cape on, which means you need to get to sleep. And so get that adjustment, get out there, start talking about it. The foundation is so proud to welcome the Arizona Association of Chiropractic and the United Chiropractic Association, which is our European organization, to the foundation, which means we're growing, we're making progress. We make progress because you're with us. And I want to remind you, we're celebrating 130 years in September of this year. That's remarkable. We've come a long way. And we have a lot to be proud of, but we have a lot of work ahead of us. We want to grow. We want to prosper. We want to motivate people to know more about chiropractic than ever before. And that's why this book, this Forbes book, is going to be dropping on October 14th. So I'm still preparing you to save your pennies so that you can buy not one book, not two books, not three books, but 4 books. Remember, this is going to be the quaternary of motion. All right. Much like stability, mobility, flexibility, and capability, that's strength training. That's what we're going to do next month. I want to remind you, do not miss this month because it is posture month. The nation knows good posture. And remember, sleep posture, not only improves how we focus the next day. Having good sleep posture means the spine is in alignment. Are you talking to your patients about their sleep position and how they can find a better sleep position? Well, let me tell you, we've got all sorts of things coming up for you next month. But as usual, the time is now to say goodbye. I want to thank you so much for joining me today and look forward to you joining me again for May, because May being posture month. This is our ballywick, friends. This is what we do every day. And the better your posture, the better your longevity. And we know that through the research. So I look forward to seeing you in May. Go forth to serve, my friends, because you are making a difference.
Isn't it time you join the most powerful team of successful doctors in chiropractic and go for the gold? Simply go to www.f4cp.org/package and get your customized practice success solution.